So I appreciate you taking the time to join me here for Athlon Sports ahead of your big fight in UFC Des Moines against Reinier de Ridder. The first question I got to ask you, man, is have you gotten the sense that fans are more excited for this fight than maybe even your past fights up to this point?
Yeah, for sure. This definitely, highly anticipated fight. I think that De Ridder's the best guy I've fought in my career. So, it's a big challenge and people, that's what people want to see, right? So I'm excited about it. I think everybody else is too.
Speaking of fans, obviously, with your last performance against Paul Craig, you executed your game plan pretty much to perfection. You avoided any, potential pitfalls that come with the Paul Craig fight. We all know the submissions he's had in the past against guys like Ankalaev. Do you feel like fans are only hard on you because of your popularity? Maybe any other prospect wouldn't have gotten this much heat.
Yeah, of course. I think that we've seen prospects in the UFC time and time again, and they get into situations like that against a veteran like Paul Craig, and they kind of crumble under the pressure. And I didn't do that, and so for me, it was a massive win and a massive confidence booster. But the expectations for me are just different than most people. I think that they have been not only for my MMA career, but for my wrestling career and really for my whole life since I've been a young kid. I think that people have always expected me to win and succeed, and I've expected that out of myself. So it's nothing new to me. And the criticism and the scrutiny is just part of the job, right? Like you look at any great in any sport, they receive that type of treatment, and it's really that's the way the world works, and I'm totally fine with it.
And De Ridder, obviously, known for his submission game, he recently said that he feels like he's going to have to play into your wrestling in order to achieve what he wants to achieve. Are you expecting him to do that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that the thing that everybody knows is I get to decide where the fight happens. If I want to take him down, it'll be on the ground. If I want to stay on the feet, it'll be on the feet. And I think he knows that as well. And I feel like given all the film study that I've done on myself and on him, he definitely feels like he wants to take the fight to the ground. And I'll be fine to have the fight on the ground, but I think I have the big advantage striking, and so whatever I want to make happen during the fight, that's what'll happen, and that's the nice part about being the better wrestler.
Now, De Ridder has trained in the past with DDP, Dricus du Plessis, and Khamzat Chimaev. He recently told Damon Martin of MMA Fighting that he believes that Dricus will not be submitted like early on if the fight does indeed happen. And he thinks as the fight goes into deep water, Chimaev could be in trouble. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good assessment. I think that, there's definitely a chance that Hamza gets him on the ground and submits him early, but I think as the fight goes longer, it definitely favors Du Plessis. So, that's a fight I'm excited about. I'm excited to see, how that shakes up the division, and it'll be entertaining. Both those guys have really strong belief in themselves, and so anytime that two guys believe in themselves like that, it'll be a great fight.
And what do you make of De Ridder's ground game as a whole? Do you feel like I guess the opinion of it is justified? Do you feel like it's overblown? Where are you at with that?
I think he's got a really solid ground game. I think that, he's in the MMA world, his jiu-jitsu is world class. And so that's something that I respect a lot. And I feel like I've trained and prepared accordingly. I spent time obviously at American Top Team, but I also spent a lot of time down in Austin with Gordon Ryan and Gary Tonin and some of the best jiu-jitsu athletes in the world. So I think I'm ready for the fight.
So I saw a recent clip of you where you stepped on the scale, you saw the weight. I believe it was 222 pounds. Kind of put your head on your head type thing. Is this just one of the things that just comes with the territory of cutting weight?
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of the job, and since I've been a young kid, wrestling, I've weighed in hundreds of times, and I've never missed weight. So it's just part of being a professional. And this training camp, I spent a lot of time gaining some size and trying to get a little bit bigger for the weight. So maybe went a little too far with it, but now I'm suffering a little bit, but that's just part of it.
You've never struck me as somebody who's going to overlook his opponents at all. But if you beat DeRidder here, we're talking about you getting into the top 15 here, top 10, guys like that. Any chance that you're going to be calling anyone out after this fight, or you're not even thinking about that at this point?
I'm not worried about that at all. I'm 100% focused on DeRidder, and I think that if you look at my career, I'll continue to fight better and better guys every fight. And so, after this one, we'll talk with the team and talk with the UFC and see what makes sense. But I want to continue to fight better guys, and at that point, I mean, higher ranked guys. So we're looking at anybody, hopefully in the top 10 or it's another big fight for me. So I'm excited about that potential.
Is there anybody in the middleweight division, maybe one person in particular who you kind of look at and you say, not, a Hamza or a DDP, maybe somebody who's in that top five or on the verge of top five who you're like, man, I would really like to share the octagon with him.
I wouldn't say there's one guy in particular. I think everybody in the UFC and especially everybody ranked are guys that I would love to fight. And my the reason that I do this is because I love it and I want to fight the best guys in the world. So whoever that is at the time, it's not personal to anybody. It's really, I'm indifferent towards that. And if you're one of the best fighters in the world, I love to challenge myself against you. And I think that that's what I do every single day in training and in practice. And the competition is really just the cherry on top.
And recently we've seen fighters on a high level, such as Sean O'Malley, recently say, you know what, I have to take a step back from all the social media stuff, even though that's a big part of kind of like his aura, his presentation, his personality, right? Where do you stand on like that balance? Because you have a podcast of your own. Where do you stand on that balance between social media activity for your brand and focusing on your fights?
I think that people are really just worried about what other people think of them or whatever it is. And for me, I'm just doing what I enjoy, what I love. My main priority is fighting, and I love fighting and training and everything that comes with that. But I also love having interesting conversations with people that I maybe wouldn't have had the opportunity to have otherwise. So the podcast is a great opportunity for that, and I think that it helps me grow and improve and get better as a person. And I've been able to share time with a lot of really special people. And so that's something that I think is just overall for me development as a person. And it doesn't really matter to me what other people think about, oh, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. I'm going to live my life the way I want to live my life. And I think that I try to make the best decisions for myself. And so, the social media stuff, for me, it's just stuff that I enjoy and it's fun. And really, that's what it comes down to is just doing what I love every day.
And the last one for me, Bo, obviously you've mentioned, you're used to dictating the pace of your fights. What are you thinking that this fight with the Ritter, how do you think that this one ends?
Mhm. I'm really not worried about the end. I'm more just focused on the process. And what I can say is that I'll bring it the whole time, from the first bell to the last, whether that's the first round, second round, or a decision. I'm going to be coming in ready to go and prepared and looking to, you know, just dominate the fight as best I can. And really, again, all I can control is my effort. So I'll be 100% in there, regardless of the situation.
Well, Bo, I very much look forward to the fight, and I wish you all the best of luck on Saturday. Thank you so much for taking the time, man.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.